Hey there everybody, it's Mark Crilley. I'm back with another video. This is in fact my first vlog video, which is kind of funny if you think about it, that I've been doing YouTube videos for, years, and this is really my first official vlog type video. Now I do want to apologize to anyone who is waiting for a how to draw video today. I know that's what you expect from me, and I do hope to deliver them more consistently in the weeks ahead, but I am under some tight deadlines these days, and so I thought I would take this as an opportunity to do a sort of a simple video in which I get some work done. And this here is from Mastering Manga 2, the book that I've been working quite hard on lately. And while I work on this, I can sort of just talk to you. Now, I've done a lot of videos where I'm answering questions, and I like doing those, and I will continue to do those. But this one, I am actually just going to sort of talk on a couple of different topics. Maybe before I get into that, just because you'll be wondering otherwise what this illustration is all about. This is, those of you who have Mastering Manga 1, you will know that the book consists mainly of illustrations, or not mainly of illustrations, mainly of lessons, but it does have a few illustrations that are there kind of almost as decorative example illustrations. There are about 4 of them in the book, and that's what this is for Mastering Manga 2. I'm working on the 4th of these example illustrations that just kind of make the book more pleasing to the eye as you flip through it, and maybe they do serve as inspiration for anyone who gets the book as to how you could apply some of these skills that you're learning. This one is made to go with the section of the book at the end that's called Bringing It All Together, and it talks a little bit about background. That's why this one, you can see, is sort of quite focused on the setting, the environment. We got a girl sitting at a bus stop, and the idea is that it shows a scene right after it has rained. It stopped raining, but the sidewalk and road is very slick, and there is at least one lesson that deals with depicting rain, and I thought it would be nice to have one of these illustrations kind of relate to that. But okay, enough about that. You get the basic idea of what I'm doing here, and I just wanted to say that I'm going to talk about 2 different things during this vlog, and these were suggested by people on my Facebook page. Lots of great suggestions over there at Mark Crilley Official, facebook.com/Mark Crilley Official. But the 2 that jumped out at me were this. One was, why don't you just tell us a little more about yourself, your life, where you come from, things that you haven't talked about before. And I thought, yeah, that is true, that actually for a lot of people who watch these videos, I remain a little bit of a mystery because I'm talking about the lessons, and then every once in a while you hear me talk a little bit about myself in some regard. And then the other thing is they wanted me to talk about a day in my life as an illustrator, creative person. What is an average day like? And I want to start with that one first because I do think that the topic of telling someone the story of your life is notoriously boring to make someone listen to the entire story of your life, and so I'm going to hold off and do that one second, and even less, I lose everybody right at the start. But even when I do get to that, I'm going to try to compress things and not literally try to tell you every single thing about my life. But let's get into the day in the life of Mark Crilley, and because there is, I think, a kind of a mystery as to what is it that freelance illustrators do all day. How do they organize, without having a boss or whatever, someone telling you what to do? How do you organize your day? So let's just go through it real quickly. Average day in the life of Mark Crilley. I'm an early riser. I get up quite early. I know that's different from a lot of people who are, kind of night owls. I know a lot of people will get their best work, a lot of artist types will get their best work done in, the midnight hours, burning the midnight oil, so to speak. And I'm not like that. I have my best energy, from creative energies early in the day, and I'm actually up every day around 6. And from there, I will go in and do what most people do, I think, these days, is check the internet, see what's going on, see if there's any emails I need to deal with, have a look at Facebook, Twitter, that kind of stuff. Around about 7 o'clock, my son, and not everyone out there maybe knows that I have a son, 13 years old, he has headed off to school, and so I come down and have have breakfast with my wife. Oh, so exciting. Crilley has breakfast. Whoa, I had no idea. Let's try to skip by the boring stuff, Crilley. So yeah, I have breakfast, and then around 8 o'clock, my daughter, it's time for me to take her out to get on the bus to go to school. So as you can see, I'm pretty much an average Joe in that regard, nothing too fancy or exciting. By the time she's on the bus, I am able to come back and really start getting into the real work day. Now, it's going to vary from one week to the next what I'm working on. Lately, it has been Mastering Manga 2, has been the thing that's on the table. And again, those of you who know the book will be aware that it is, most of the work is illustration. I mean, there's writing throughout, but my approach has been to start with the illustrations. I mean, I have a plan for the book. And I'm following a plan, but I hold off and do the writing at the end. So mostly recently I've been, I'd be sitting down and I have penciled illustrations that are part of these lessons or reference pages that are in the book. I am inking them, I'm scanning them into the computer, I'm adding color, and, basically that's it. Day after day, morning after morning, afternoon after afternoon, I'm just cranking out these illustrations, doing my best to maintain a level of quality, but then also trying to meet the deadline. And you do have to kind of plan these things out. And I would say that the illustration, the process of creating all the illustrations for one of these books, a Mastering Manga type book, takes me at least several months. And that was kind of my goal when I first set out to do Mastering Manga, is I wanted a book that showed that I had put time into it, that I really cared about it, and that I had packed as much into it as I could. And so that's why it does take a little extra time to complete one of these books. But happily, I can say I'm near the end right now, and that's what you see me working on here is indeed one of the last illustrations that's going to go into the book. So yeah, that's kind of the average morning. I stop and have lunch. Most people, I think, who imagine someone who works out of their own home is probably aghast at the idea that you spend the entire day inside your own house. And true enough, it does, you may get a little stir-crazy after a while, in which case my work allows me a lot of the times to get out of the house, take my work with me and go somewhere, like a coffee shop or whatever, and do work outside. And for me, that tends to happen in the afternoon. I will want to go out and get a breather, or just, somehow step out of the walls of my own home, which you get used to it, I guess. If you're, someone like me, this is almost the only thing I've done ever since I was in my late 20s, let's say. I have always, the only work life I have known has been working out of my own home. So, you get used to it. But yes, it is helpful to get out of the house sometimes, for sure. And when do I finally wrap it up and call it a day? Yeah, kind of like anybody else. By around 5, 6 at the latest, I'm kind of done by then. I can't, like I said, some people are like night owls or whatever. Toward the end of the day, I'm losing my energy, and the quality of the work will suffer. And so I sort of like punch the clock, so to speak, and come downstairs and have dinner. And generally after dinner, I am not doing so much work, although I will, sort of check. People who are on my Facebook page, you may notice that I tend to do a Facebook post. I will ask these funky little questions that occur to me about art and different things like that. And people over there are great about replying, and we get some really interesting conversations going. But that's something I'll do in the evening, is sort of tend to my Facebook and Twitter friends. And beyond that, that's kind of it. That is sort of an average day. Now, there's a completely different type of average day that I have, I should say, which is a public speaking average day. And I won't bore you by going through that too much. But suffice to say, there are times when I do need to leave the house, get on the road, and head off to speak at a school or a library, sometimes even boarding a plane and flying to a different part of the country. And then the daily routine, so to speak, becomes quite different. Suddenly my life is a jumble. I'm on the road. I'm getting off the plane. I'm, taking taxis or whatever to get to places, and it's generally someplace I have never been before, and I enjoy it. It's exciting to get out there. Let's see, what else should I say about that? That's pretty much it, maybe for that first topic. Hope you guys are not falling asleep as I talk about these things. I know this one for sure is going to test your patience if you are basically someone who comes to me mainly for drawing lessons and is not necessarily all that interested in who I am as a guy. But someone did ask about, tell us a little more about your life insofar as it does not relate to drawing or art or videos and some of this other stuff that we have never heard about. So I'll quickly go through this. I grew up in Detroit, Michigan. Always loved drawing. That will be no surprise. I was just drawing all the time, obsessed with it. My favorite thing as a kid was Mad Magazine. Loved Mad Magazine. Had a collection of them. And pored over those illustrations day after day. I don't know if you see so much of the Mad Magazine influence in my work now. I don't know. Let me know if you guys see any of it. But I was certainly very into that magazine, and I think there is a freewheeling sense of creativity to those old magazines that I had when I was a kid. That they could do anything they wanted to. They'd come up with an idea of a parody of whatever, and they just do it. And I've always enjoyed that, and I suppose in a way that has come up in my modern day life, that I have never wanted to sit still and do the exact same work over and over again. I'm always trying to jazz it up and reinvent things and try different things. So yes, as a kid I was a Mad Magazine guy. As I got older, I was in the talent show. When I was in the 4th grade, I did a little stand-up comedy routine. Some of you might not be completely surprised by that, because I'm always like doing these lame jokes when I do the videos. But I did this stand-up comedy routine where I told a joke and all the people laughed, and I always sort of point at that as a turning point in my life in which I became a little more extroverted, or at least began to think of myself as more of an entertainer, someone who had been, put on this earth to make the people laugh. So that became kind of a thing. Even as young as the 4th grade, I felt like my life kind of changed there. I began to understand who I was as a creative person. When I went off to high school, I even went further in that direction and joined the drama club. Went to a U of D High, or U of D, University of Detroit Jesuit High School, as they call it now. And I was in 8 different plays over the course of the 4 years that I was in high school. And so that, as you can tell, I definitely was hooked on being a theater guy. And then when I went off to college, which was Kalamazoo College, I'm pretty sure I've mentioned that, I actually for a time toyed around with the idea of being a double major, art and theater. I took one theater class my freshman year, and it kind of cured me of that, in the sense that I realized I wasn't serious enough to pursue acting. Acting is not just doing funny voices, like the guy from Brooklyn, like I'm always doing. No, serious acting is you put away the funny voices and you try to do something real, and I very quickly saw that I was not cut out for that. Just let me do the funny voices, man. So that was kind of the end of that, and I went completely into being an art major, and it became clear that was really what I was going to do. I'm sort of hesitant to just go through every single beat of my life, lest I put everyone to sleep, but let me try to think of things that I haven't talked about in previous videos. I don't think I ever talked about the fact that I was the editor of the college newspaper when I was in my senior year of college, and I took it quite seriously, and I am told that the the paper during that quarter or so, whatever 3 months or so that I was in charge of it, that the paper was of exceptional quality during that time, and I took some pride in that. It was really a matter of me being able to illustrate anything I wanted to, which is not usually the case with the editor of a college newspaper. So, of course, as you would imagine, the paper was filled with illustrations all the time, and cartoons and whatever I felt like doing. So I think that was kind of a thing, because it also, it went beyond me being just an artist to actually being in charge of something and editing, writing. I was writing a lot of articles. I was sort of bringing a lot of these things together. So that was kind of fun. I've talked before about how I got interested in foreign travel. I think even recently in that Q&A video I talked about having traveled to Europe and Africa. I was very lucky that way that I went to a college that allowed me to truly see the world. Taiwan was where I taught English after graduating from college. What people might not have heard about so much is that when I finished my 1.5 years of teaching English in Taiwan, I took a trip to Hong Kong, and through Hong Kong passed on to Nepal and down through India. And that was just, as you might imagine, mind-blowing. It was an amazing experience. The year was 1990. Oh boy, 1990, I think it was. Yeah, unless it was 89. I can't even remember, but it was right around there. And I was on the road, traveling through, especially Nepal was really just amazing to me. The sights of Kathmandu and beyond. Really just a magical time in my life. And then heading down into India, of course, also just one of the most incredible countries on earth, especially for someone like me who grew up in this, somewhat sheltered American lifestyle, to suddenly see this incredible, the colors and sounds and everything of India was just really mind-blowing. Unfortunately, I got hepatitis when I was in India. I was hospitalized in Bombay, or is it Mumbai now? I'm not sure I'm getting the pronunciation right there, but I was hospitalized for 12 days, and that was really kind of miserable. Not so much that I was suffering, but just because I was bored. Oh my goodness, was I bored. Can you imagine being in the hospital for 12 days and there's no one to visit you? Yeah. Pretty boring, as I think you can picture in your mind. Even just 1 or 2 days of that is boring, but 12 is just, you start to go nuts. So I was very glad when that was over. And why don't we say that's the end of part 1 of the life of Mark Crilley, because I think I really will start to lose some people if I try to go through the entire history of my life. Who wants to hear that, huh? What? Right? So let's put a little bookmark in there for the end of the India trip. And maybe I'll pick that thread up some other time. But again, I want to apologize seriously. I really do want to apologize for this not being a how to draw video. Those of you who were hoping for one and expecting one, I really will just do my very best to make next week's video a how to draw video. It's a tough life, let me tell you, when you just got to take every job that comes to you when you're freelance. You can't afford to say no, and sometimes it all comes together at the exact same time, and everybody wants everything that you've promised to them all at the same time, and that's kind of where I am right now, and that's why. So thanks for your patience, for your acceptance, and those of you who actually enjoyed this video, I tip my hat to you. I'm very grateful if you enjoyed this video on any level. But otherwise, rest assured, I will not make a habit of this. We will be coming back with a proper how to draw video, hopefully by next Friday. And, you have my word that when things lighten up a little in terms of my workload, I will try to make up for this by having some weeks where I do, multiple videos. So as to sort of balance things out a little bit. Let me go ahead and lay down this brush. I want to thank you all for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it, and I'll be back with another one real soon.